You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show, where we talk to startup founders about their startups. I'm joined with...
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton down here in San Diego.
And so today we have another great interview with Mark McCoy from GoCarrot.com. So, Jeff, tell us, what does GoCarrot do?
Carrot's pretty cool. It taps in. It's like an SDK. You can use it with any of your apps that you've built. So whether it's on mobile, iOS, Android, tablet, or just a web application, you can use Carrot to push to Facebook when your users interact with your app.
Okay, so you're saying that this isn't really for mobile only. You're saying that the web can use it, tablet can use it, mobile can use it,
Yeah.
all the different platforms can use GoCarrot.
Any application that your users connect with Facebook, essentially.
Okay.
So then the actions that they take on your site, like listening to a song or bookmarking a page, or maybe highlighting or clipping a piece of an article out, or sharing it with a friend, or if it's a video game reaching a certain level or an accomplishment, will automatically share to your Facebook stream in the way that Facebook is built for, that isn't annoying, that fits in the stream, that your friends will see, you get extra eyeballs, and you'll hopefully acquire some more customers to your application.
Okay, well, we all know being viral and adding to virality is a huge, huge part of the success that we've seen in all forms. Any app, any web application that can leverage the Facebook platform with the viral thing is going to be an instant success, in my opinion. And GoCarrot is squarely aimed at that specific problem.
Yeah, they're aimed right at it. I mean, I can go on and on with, as a developer, how frustrating this space is. You get to that point where you need to add this to your application. You know it's important, but you're sort of unfamiliar with it. You're playing on Facebook's terms and their rules. So Carrot really wraps all that up. They handle all of the changes, make it really easy to use and friendly. And so they show us a couple things like that really improve the workflow and really add value to doing it yourself, because you could do this yourself, but really they add tools to, really enhance it.
Yeah, and so, basically if I'm a non-technical person, if I'm a marketing guy, if I'm the designer, let's say, I can go into the back end of their system and I can say, hey, when user does this in my application, when he turns a page, when he looks at an image or plays a video, I want it to do this, or I want that to trigger this little text snippet, the template, and I want that to be posted to Facebook. And I can do this, set up the IDs for all these actions, and then go ahead and then tell my developer to just implement.
Yeah, instead of the developer having to go break open the Facebook developer book and write open graph actions and themselves, you can use GoCarrot, and like you're saying, now you can seamlessly let the marketing department update the copy and the photos and the all of the messaging in real time, rather than having to work with the developer to recode the thing.
Exactly, so it creates this sort of fluid, creative expression of like, how can we creatively use the things that people are doing within the application without trying to, keep recoding it and getting the developer on board to recode all this stuff, because Facebook's always changing, and Jeff, you're not alone. I've heard from many people on the web that it's a pain in the ass to keep up with all the stuff that they're doing, and half the stuff is not working, it's broken, the documentation's out of date.
Yep.
And so these guys handle all that stuff in the background. And what's really great is that to start, it's free.
Yeah,
So
I mean, for the little guy that's just starting launching an app, this is where you really want the retention and the word of mouth and which is really the viral growth.
Yeah. So this is critical. So for those of you out there that have a mobile app, that have an iPad magazine, that have a video game in Flash on the web, all of these are great use cases. They're, as we know, what is it? Facebook's got what, 900 million people on there. If you can get a little tiny slice of that, you're golden. So definitely check out this interview. Reach out to them if you have any questions or suggestions. And as always, please comment and subscribe to us. We really count on that.
Yeah, everyone that's listening, we really do appreciate all of your comments and feedback. It really helps keep us going.
We're making it easy for app developers to share on Facebook. Basically, we're a game company. We all came from a game background. We worked at Garage Games, and we were doing a small game startup. And we were working on a game, and we were like, how are we going to get this out there, right? Like, we're going to put this out on the App Store, and we're going to play App Store roulette, and, like, what, 2 people are going to find it,
It's a battle for the top 10, right?
Yeah, right. So, and, like, we didn't have $25K to give to, like, App Gratis to just, like, bump our charts, or anything like that.
Right.
So we were looking at, how people grow with Facebook sharing. And we started digging in, Spotify, like, I've been fascinated with Spotify for, like, ever since it launched, because it was like, oh, look, right there, I'm, like, on Facebook, and I'm seeing what people are doing in Spotify, right? And then you just, like, watch it take off, right? It grows virally because the app itself is advertising itself.
Right.
And then to watch Instagram kind of do the same thing. Like, the app itself is advertising itself, and the way it's doing it is with intelligent sharing. And then Pinterest, bam, like, people pin things, it's just like, boom, taking off. It's like, you've got to build this virality into your app. You got to get people when they're doing stuff to be sharing that, right?
Right.
And
That's
so from
critical.
a developer's point of view, that means a really deep integration into the social network, right? Using their APIs.
Yeah, it can, and it has more to do with, from a developer point of view, just kind of thinking about it. And what's been interesting is that the stuff like Spotify is doing, it takes kind of a complicated integration. The tricky bit is that they kind of set this all up for the web, right? Like, the way that Facebook thinks about sharing is like you're sharing a URL. And so for app developers, it's complicated because you don't have a URL, right? Like, you have the landing page that sells your app, but, like, all your app content isn't living on a URL.
Right.
So we take that pain away. That's like what we're like, okay, we'll make things live on apps. So when you're designing your app, you start thinking about, okay, what are the key moments that we want to share? So if you have a game like, beat a level is, like, an obvious one. We have one game doing, like, beat a boss, right? And we allow you to make that beat a boss moment have a URL so that you can share that to Facebook and have a picture of the boss, have a little description, and then when a user beats a boss in their game, that shares out. People on Facebook was like, oh man, that art is awesome, click on it, they find out about the game, load it up.
So tell me real quick, what happens when they click through, when someone sees that in their Facebook feed? Oh, my friend just beat level 40, I click on it, that's going to take me to a URL. Is there anything going to be on that page, or is it just going to, like, pass me through to their app?
That depends on how cool the app developer wants to make it, right? So we have it set up like, so if you're, say, a Facebook app, like a traditional Facebook game, we can just pipe you straight to the game, right? If you're really doing it right, you're going to have some sort of deep linking into your game, so that when that URL gets pulled up, it kind of brings in something interesting, right? So that it's
now
not
you have
just
a
like,
neighbor
hey, sign up for the game, right?
You have a friend in the game, and they probably there's some actual game mechanics, sure.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. And then if it's a mobile game, then like, obviously you're going to need to go to the App Store and get the app. I believe there is some deep linking possible there now too. So that's something we're working on to make happen. On the mobile side, it's I don't think there's been a lot of people who have done that right, but that's really where we want to take it, right?
Oh, great.
Right. So
definitely tap into the native stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do have that linking. It's just more people aren't as aware of it, I'm sure, but you can do, I think, some of that stuff you're talking about.
So
yeah, I mean, the hard part is it takes extra developer time to kind of do that piece.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so I'm a developer. I've done the integrations with Facebook, and it's a pain. It's like a moving target. You don't always know what you can even do. Like you said, you look at other apps, and you're like, holy crap, they're doing this like awesome integration. I want to do that. And so sometimes, there's all these challenges to getting started.
Yeah, so that's what we've found is that for us, like we've put a lot of the Facebook integration on our back end so that we can kind of keep up with Facebook for you, right?
Yeah.
And so that our SDK stays the same, and then we make changes when Facebook changes, right? And then the other thing we've seen is that like a lot of times the way this gets developed is, you know, marketing says, hey, we got to put Facebook sharing in, right? And so the developer's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, here we go. And they like Google like find Facebook sharing. They find something from like 2006, and they, you know, they just follow it, and well, then all of a sudden they have this like ancient implementation of Facebook sharing, and it's like from the old days when it was spammy.
Yeah.
And you know, it'll have the like broken login that, you know, like on an iOS device, it pops up this little like window that you have to like type in your name and password in and all that kind of stuff. It's like, no. If you do it the right way, you know, then it'll be a nice smooth experience. Yeah.
And it's so frustrating as a developer. I mean, I can just tell you, even with the stupid like and share buttons. Implementing them and the way that they've changed over time and the way that they migrate them, where the old stuff lingers but the new stuff is better, and they don't really want you using the old stuff, and it's just going to disappear one day. Really a hard thing for a developer to want to care about.
Right, exactly. So our whole thing is making that easy for developers, right? Like making sure you're integrating with the latest way to do it, you know, the best practices and all that.
So what are some of the creative things that you've seen developers how they've used the power that you give them? You mentioned the boss screen, sharing the imagery within the game, that kind of thing.
Yeah, some of the coolest things that we've got going, like. American McGee's company is using us. I don't know if you've heard of him, if you're into the games space at all, but they're doing this game, and they just decided, we don't know what's going to be most attractive to people, so we're just going to like put it all out there, you know, just hook up all these hooks and put all the things, and we're just going to see what's working, what's not working, then we're just going to turn things on and off.
Okay.
And so, like the boss thing, you know, the art for the boss is just so awesome that they're getting like fantastic click-through rates on that because people are like, I want to play that, right?
Right.
Whereas, you know, another thing like farm to vegetable or, you know, that kind of thing doesn't get as good of click-through rates, you know.
Okay.
So how are you tracking click-through rates? Is there a tool for the developer to see how everything is performing? Like you said, if they want to try it all, they can figure out what isn't working and cut it out?
That's exactly what we do. We pull that into our interface. So our web interface has, you know, you can actually set up these little, set up the objects and kind of preview what they're going to look like on Facebook. And then we pull metrics in so you can actually see like, oh, okay, yeah, defeated a boss worked really well, completed a level, it's pretty good, you know, and just kind of turn things off and adjust. The other big piece that happens there is that in oftentimes the way it gets implemented now for most people is that the developer like just hard codes it somewhere, right? And then marketing is like, oh no, that's terrible, I need a better image in there and all that, and you know, so marketing has to like file a Jira ticket, and then it has to like go through the bug log, and then developer like, and then you know, then it gets into the app release schedule, and then the app gets released, and then it gets approved by Apple, and you know, through all that.
Yeah, the content's haphazardly getting programmed or hard coded rather than, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So for us, it's all on the back end. So like marketing goes, oh, that's terrible. They just like edit, save, it's updated live on Facebook. Like
that's awesome. That's awesome. So really quickly
powerful
here, Mark, can you tell us a little about your journey with the company? You know, I based on your angel list, looks like you did win or semifinalist at a competition. I saw that, and you know, we've got about 3 people in the company. Where are you at right now?
Where are we at right now? We are. I mean, there's 3 people. We're raising money, which is great. We've got some great investors on board. So we've got several great early adopter customers that we're working with. They're telling us how to make our product better.
Gotcha.
For us as a journey, it's three guys who, it's two coders and one designer who are just
Okay.
like love building cool products.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
So our journey starting a startup is like, oh wait, now we have to be like biz dev too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we need to do interviews and we need to be marketing and
That's right.
the homepage right now, like
Yeah.
we've been like testing it against people and it was like, oh no, it's not communicating what we do at all. Like I just
Right.
need to redo it, but then you
Right,
gotta
right.
balance that against the other
Well,
marketing
I
tasks.
have to tell you, Mark, if you're responsible for this design, it's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's beautifully, beautifully designed. So, all right, so we've got 3 people in the team. You're saying you got some investment money coming in. Are you guys profitable at this time, or are you guys still kind of trying to grow it? What's your runway looking like? Can you give us a little bit more in there?
Our runway's looking good. We're not profitable yet. Like we had actually just got started kind of the beginning of the year ish.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, we need a few more customers. But it's one of those, like, you get a couple of marquee customers and we're good to go.
Yeah. So your next step is getting some of these marquee customers. How do you plan on are you going to do the content marketing thing, do a lot of case studies? Or are you just literally hitting the phone? Do you have some VAs overseas, compiling a database? How do you plan on getting some of these guys? What's your feeling?
So that's like one step at a time. Like right now we're working our networks, so, we have people, our friends in the games industry that are interested in this. What's fantastic actually is one of our first customers just loves it so much that she's just telling everybody. She's
great.
just like everybody she knows, and that she's like, you've got to use this. It is awesome, and because it's driving traffic to their game,
So
and
it's
they're
working
getting
for
a user base, and it's increased retention, and it's just like, oh, awesome, right? Because just getting those messages out there and reminding people, hey, this game exists, and your friends are playing it, is like huge, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
So, and then I've been, going to basically networking events, anything that I can where there's going to be app developers, and just talk to them about like, well, hey, what's your go-to-market strategy?
Right.
If you're going to buy advertising, like you get those users in, how are those users going to bring in more users? Just talk to them, and so it's really been hands-on at the moment. Right?
Okay, so are you based in the Bay Area? Where's the team at?
We are actually up in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
Cool. The Silicon Shire, as it is called.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's
Silicon Shire. What?
Yeah, there's like a site called Silicon Shire. It kind of lists all the startups that are going on in Eugene.
Okay.
Great.
So are there any game developers out there, man?
Oh, yeah, actually, so back in the day there was Dynamics, which when Sierra bought and then closed down, and then that kind of like broke up, and then there was like 3 or 4 game developers that came out of that, and then Garage Games was the big one out of that, and then that broke up, and then a bunch of game developers out of that.
Spawn out of that, right.
There's a Zynga studio here, and a Playdom/Disney studio here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
so
then,
so you're actually in Portland, am I right?
No, Eugene.
Oh, sorry, Eugene.
Yeah, 100 miles south of Portland.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a huge fan of the show, and the Portlandia show. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Is it kind of like that at all out there, Eugene, or?
Well, I mean, yeah, Eugene is its own blend. Portland is a little like hipster, and Eugene is a little more hippie. Although it's starting to get a little more hipster down here too. So there's been some downtown revitalization that's been changing the startup scene and stuff going on down here.
So we couldn't help but notice that you were in a competition. You won $200,000 for the company. You want to tell us about that?
No, that was there's a Willamette Angel conference, and we were in that. We didn't win the whole shebang. We actually
semifinals. Well, tell us about that competition in general. It's great to hear that you guys have that going on up there.
Yeah, it's a great competition. They basically bring together like all the startups in the Willamette Valley and say, hey, like let's get you in the same room as Angels, and we're gonna have a competition where we'll pick a winner, and then the angels will invest $200K into that one.
Okay.
But as it turns out, it's also, I mean, all these angels are sitting around listening to all these great ideas, and they say, oh, well, I want to put money on that on the side, right? Like, you know, it isn't just about winning. It's kind of like American Idol, where the second place winner gets a deal too. So, so it was really cool. I think they gave out almost $500K this round, so that was really good.
So you had an opportunity there to talk to other app developers and VCs and angels.
Yeah, and network and meet just people. It's been great meeting more people in the area who are working in software, right? I've met several people.
It's hard to find sometimes.
Yeah, like I come from a games background, and I've been meeting people who are in other areas, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Facebook sharing is not like, I mean, games is not the only thing, right? So it's like, I want to talk to you. You have a totally different market segment, and our application would be great for you too. So,
right.
It's been good.
So in your opinion, do you think you'll be able to kind of just grow it homebrew, kind of right there? Are you guys considering possibly making a trip out to California and maybe trying to do some business development out here? Have you thought about that, or any other big areas like New York or whatever?
Yeah, we came down for GDC when that was in town, and we just hit the floor and just talked to just everybody we can. And that's actually, I talked to Ryan there. That's where we last connected.
Ryan from Session M.
For Session M. And I was like, hey, Session M, like, you got these people doing these mini games and things, like that should, like, how do you want that shared to Facebook? He was like, oh, this is really interesting. He had talked to his product guys about it. So. It's so we got a lot of good response from GDC, we're going to be going to other conferences as needed, and so I mean, eventually we want to have a biz dev guy down in the Bay Area.
Okay,
that's
what I'm trying to get at here, because I'm telling you, we talked to so many startups recently, and it's there's this huge sort of magnet. Palo Alto, Sunnyvale, Silicon Valley magnet that, you got to send one guy down there to hit.
We're starting to see a theme, even if it's just one guy for the biz dev that they just throw right in the middle of everything, just to, because the partnerships and the deals, sometimes I guess you gotta be able to take that lunch meeting or the coffee.
I mean, you just run into people. Like when I was down there at GTC, I ran into some people, and then I was like, hey, let's go get coffee, and we're walking over to coffee, and we ran into some other people from another startup. It was just this like huge, crazy thing.
Yeah. Do you think? How's the scene out there in Eugene? Is it growing? I mean, what's your feeling?
Yeah, it's growing. It's interesting because a year ago we were in a small office just right next to downtown. We literally moved across the street into this newly renovated building. And before, we didn't see anybody. We didn't, it was sort of like we wouldn't even known there was a startup scene. We moved into this new building, and there's co-working space. There's software companies all on one floor. There's another software company on, and it's just growing. And there's a lot of people in the biotech space out here as well, which is interesting. There's like do-it-yourself biotech kind of thing, like lean startup biotech, which
very
is,
cool.
Blows your mind because you're like, what? That's a thing?
Wow. That is mind-blowing, man. Who knows what kind of creatures will come out of there?
Right.
Wow. All right. So, here, I'm from LA, Jeff's down in San Diego, and I can tell you from my own experience here in LA, we only had one co-working space a couple years ago. Now they're sprouting up, and it's definitely heating up here in LA as well. So, we're definitely seeing that as a trend.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them down here, and it's definitely getting stronger. But we're definitely putting all the pins on the map and trying to see where the best place to be is. So it's nice to hear that you're outside of the bubble.
So I mean, we're outside of the bubble, but Eugene is pretty conveniently located in terms of like it's like halfway between Seattle and San Francisco, right? And you can just hop on a flight and be in San Francisco in an hour. So
that's huge. Yeah. I have to tell you though, Mark. Being a three-person startup, I know you guys are kind of out in the gate here. How much, I know you guys are kind of bootstrapped. How much of your time are you devoting to this startup? Is this kind of a full-time endeavor for all three of you guys? Do you do consulting on the side? How are you doing that balance?
That's why we got investors on board. So we're full time devoted to it. So
Okay.
That's
Full time devoted to it. So how's your burn rate? How's your runway? You got about a year left. What do you think? 6 months? 5 months?
I'm not at liberty to say. Let's say
Okay.
that.
All right. I'm just curious.
But we have time. I mean, that's the thing is it's the three of us, and so we definitely have time.
Okay, that's good. So you're keeping your burn rate low, is what I'm hearing.
Keeping our burn rate low, and then we're going to judiciously, that's why we don't have the biz dev guy in San Francisco yet, right?
Okay.
A little expensive, yeah.
Yeah, the alcohol costs are just going to be through the roof at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious. All right.
Well,
So
how about tell us about the Google I/O was just happening earlier this week down there. A lot of news about the Google Plus. We're doing this on Hangout and saying how it's changing every day, and we're a little bit frustrated, but also kind of admiring the power of it. Anything on your mind about the recent stuff happening?
Well, from a company standpoint, we're always like watching Google Plus to see like when the point is when what we're doing makes sense to go there. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but
is there a 1-to-1, or are you just holding off at the time being, or is there a technical reason not to?
Well, previously there was nobody. I mean, people aren't using Google Plus in the same way, and so the big thing for us was like Facebook actually has this Open Graph platform that makes sharing. You can do the sharing that doesn't pop up all the time and say, "Do you want to share this? Do you want to share this?" You can do the sharing that, like, if somebody does something like achieve this or buy this, you can send that out in the background without bothering them, and then they can just toggle whether or not they like the concept of sharing. So Google doesn't have that on the same level. They did announce something not too long ago that was along those lines, but it doesn't allow custom actions. So unless you're doing like a research journal application, like it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. I see. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So,
and what about Twitter, real quick? Like Twitter cards or anything on that front, or any other social network, or is it pretty much Facebook that has this Open Graph like capability? That's
so
that's a good point.
The Twitter cards actually use the same Open Graph tags to kind of do the things. So we're trying to get Twitter card approval so that if you share a Carrot URL, it'll show up in the feed, like that.
Okay.
So right now so that's, again, it's like, okay, right when it makes sense. But again, like with Twitter, it's a different sharing experience, So like at the end of it, like if you're listening to Spotify, like at the end of every song, if it was like, "Hey, do you want to tweet this song?" It's just like, no, that is not good product design, right? So you kind of have to, you have to judiciously think about your sharing strategy, right?
Gotcha. So as a young startup that's looking to try to leverage the social graph specifically on Facebook, what's the minimum spend? Let's say I got a one-man operation, me in my bedroom here. How much am I gonna need to spend to try to get on your platform? So you guys abstract all the complexity out of the way, and it's consistent, and not have to rewrite it all the time and all that.
Right. So what we're trying to build is a self-service platform, so you can just go on there, load the SDK without having to mess with us, to talk with us. Right now, the initial setup is there's some kind of mental, basically our documentation is needs to be a little bit improved. So basically, we're finding that people we talk to about it do it better. The initial startup setup time is not very much, and we have basically our free tier is the kind of the setup, get going. It's absolutely free.
Oh wow, it's free. Oh, that's great. So when does it go into the paid tier? Is it usage or?
So yeah, it's based on usage. So right now it's 50 posting users for free.
Okay.
And then
that's awesome. Is there any way? Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, Mark. Is there any way that you can use the screen share function, maybe log into the back end and show us something?
Sure. Let's see. I haven't used the screen share on
It's
this.
right
so
here on the left, the
Yeah.
third button down. There you go. Yeah.
And you can pick just a single window.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
it makes it easier.
Start the screen
Oh,
share.
there we
great.
go. Yep, I can see you.
All right. So
Cool.
what we have here is this is one of the games.
Okay.
This is actually a test game. So you can. This was a test that went out. It's just like one post that got 32 impressions.
Okay.
So here's the basic thing: is let's say you're in your app. Like, what can users do? In my app, a user can. And then we just magically do all the Facebook setup for Open Graph in the background.
Okay.
How hard is it to have your library of verbs and objects and all that? Is it pretty trivial for you guys to create any? Like, what if I come up with something crazy that you haven't done before? Does it matter?
No, it's just completely open, right? The only thing is that Facebook will have to approve it. So there is an approval process. So, if you make it something horrible, I'm sure Facebook will.
So this is interesting. So you're basically setting up an action here, right?
Yep.
When the user crosses the street, and then at that point you can set up like a post or.
Yeah, and then you can basically set up posts. What we're finding here is that you should never do live demos.
Yeah, know how it goes. Putting you on the spot,
So it's,
but we appreciate you.
There we go.
Let's see, this is,
Uh-oh. Oh, you got to log in.
I don't know what's going on here. Here we go.
But that's great that I see you have impressions as well. I mean, I'm trying to think. You must be pulling that from their API or something.
Yeah, we're pulling that from Facebook's, from data. Yeah.
Nice.
So currently, we're actually getting about 1 million impressions per week, just for the customers that are currently using. I mean, like just in total.
1 million impressions a week.
Yeah.
You want to tell us real quick on your homepage? You mentioned like getting to your friends, I think.
Yeah.
I think part of that is the magic that people don't realize. The developers and product managers may not realize the viral opportunity. Like we all like, oh, let's make it viral, but like, what does that mean? Typically, that's your friends, or like kind of getting it out. What on Facebook gets there?
Yeah. No, that's a very, very good point. I'm very interested in that second level, third level sharing.
Right.
Third degree or whatever, second degree.
Out about the fact that the demo is like totally breaking on me here. It's,
okay.
Sorry,
no
maybe
problem.
the Hangout is
Yeah,
interfering with the bandwidth or something.
Let's see. Let's try it on my. So yeah, reaching your friends. I mean, the thing is you want not. So I don't know, that this is just not happening for me right now.
The demo gods are not happy with you.
The demo gods are not happening. Yeah. Or actually, if I click on, you can see here, new achievement. Are we still sharing there?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
assuming it was crossing a street, then you have this basically you have an editor interface, and so you say like.
You give it a unique ID.
Yeah, I give it an ID. Street.
Okay.
And then we can actually just pull in an image, just drag and drop on there.
Oh, very cool.
Uh,
And this is theoretically what it's going to sort of look like, the template in the Facebook feed.
Yeah, is that this is what we're gonna,
That's awesome. And can you pull in like tokens of like your name, your friends? What kind of data can you pull in here?
So there's two styles. I mean, there's some metadata that you can add to these. This is an achievement.
Yeah, what are the points?
So achievements are a special case on Facebook, and so they have points. And so if you have a game on Facebook, you can have these achievements.
Okay.
And they basically the number of points needs to add or can't add up to more than 1,000. So that's the. You can add notes on here to let your developer. It's like, okay, here's where I want this to happen. So you're the marketing guy. You're on here and you're
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
editing it, right? So now here we have a post. I don't know. Oh, okay, and then I can hit this test button right here.
Okay.
And boom, I can view it on Facebook. And
Cool.
there's
very
the
cool.
achievement.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, there's
if
a
I
play
go
now
on
button
here,
I see.
Very nice. So this theoretically
yeah,
is something that the developer can integrate within the game, and with that specific ID.
with this specific idea, and actually, what they would use is I gotta get it to save again. They would use this code right here.
Oh wow,
Mm.
that's
So
awesome. There's a
Unity,
Unity. Oh
Chroma,
wow.
There's iOS.
Oh, that is awesome.
Android, Flash, Ruby. You can do it on your back end if you want, or
that is-
JavaScript.
Oh, that is so great, Jeff. This
Yeah, we
this just
choose
made me so
JavaScript.
happy.
So,
Yeah, no, it's a very simple interface. We can totally see what you're saying. Like for the marketing guy to be able to come in and change the
Yeah.
copy, change the image,
Yeah.
exactly.
copy notes to communicate with the developer is really handy.
This
Right, and they say, oh, you know what? I think exclamation is really going to make this convert better.
Right.
Yeah.
They just change it and hit save,
Okay.
and hopefully this works. They go back to Facebook, they hit refresh, and there's your exclamation points. Right, it happens actually. It sends it basically retroactively, like
Oh, very nice.
it tells Facebook, hey, this thing changed, and
Okay. That's
and-
very cool. So you can
Yeah, I
bypass
didn't even
the.
know that was possible.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very cool. So you can bypass the whole iOS and Apple and all that, and just go direct.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, exactly. You don't have to go back through the cycle.
And let me say, since you guys do offer JavaScript, this could not necessarily even be about games. I could have my own web app.
No, it isn't about I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
games right now is that we came from a games background. But part of why I wanted to do this is actually I had some ideas that some other app ideas that weren't even games, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, if I wanted that to grow, I would
Yeah.
need this Facebook sharing,
Yeah.
just like Spotify has,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then when I was thinking about our game, I was like,
Yeah.
we should have the Facebook sharing, just like Spotify.
This is really lovely. I have to tell you, Mark. Jeff and I, one of our ambitions is, of course, to take over the whole world, and
Okay.
we could use Carrot here to further our world domination.
Yeah, Jeff took over the world on your app. You
Yeah.
picture the world.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Maniacal laughter. You could just be ha 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 ha.
Right, yeah,
totally.
that is so neat. I have to tell you,
You could see
I
us integrating this into Smoking Hot Coffee, and every time you post a startup,
Yeah.
or every time you
Yeah.
review one, or follow
Yeah.
a startup, or invest in one, or something like that.
exactly.
Yeah, and if you guys had Facebook, users could log into Facebook on Smoking Hot Coffee. You could do the custom like actions, right? So it'd be like you liked this startup, or favorited this video, and then that posts out and it says, favorited video on Smoking Hot Coffee.
See, so that's a perfect example
That's
for
beautiful.
content sites,
Yeah,
right?
beautiful.
Just favorites.
Yeah.
Something that
I-
everyone should have. Yeah.
I want to go back to this whole virality bit again, Mark.
Okay,
Since
yeah.
this is the most important. How do we set up actions? How do we motivate? Not degree number 1, degree number 2, but degree number 3 to bring in degree number 4, right? So let's say he's 3 levels deep. Is there a way to say, hey, when I cross the street, and it happens to be the 3rd degree, meaning the guy that got invited by the second guy, is there any way to sort of stimulate or figure out a way to motivate that, if you know what I'm getting at here? If there's a way to set up an achievement, or a way to give them some money, or bribe them, or send them a gift card, or
So I mean, this is like the terrible advice that everybody always gets. But the key is making your app interesting, right?
okay.
So
Damn it! I thought that was a trick.
right. So it's funny because everybody complains about like Farmville spam, right? They're like, oh, spamming from Farmville,
spam,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was like old, and so it filled your newsfeed with like 50 posts. And now, if you use this new format, if somebody plays the game, sorry, I'm going anyway. It'll condense it into one post. It's the Open Graph aggregation stuff. That's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so everybody complains about spam from Farmville, but they don't complain about their own Instagram spam, right? Like taking photos. Well, that's actually interesting. So that's not spam, right?
Yeah.
And like hearing like what people are listening to on Spotify. Well,
the
that's not spam
Spotify
because I'm
stuff. It's like
curious
every 3
about
or
what
4
they're
minutes.
listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right, it's actually making your app. It's like your app needs to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you start there, then you add the layer of having people sign in with Facebook to see what their friends are doing,
right.
And then you just share those interesting stories, right? You just get the word out,
right.
And what's awesome about like the massive number of impressions that you get from this is, right, like traditional advertising, it's like you got to see something like 7 times before you actually like register it,
right.
And so you're gonna. Like I didn't click on Spotify the first time I saw it, but after like I saw that like, hey, everybody I know is like listening to Spotify, right? Like I should check it out.
Right.
So that's the key, is just getting your message out there and getting it out on channels like Facebook, where people are like spending a lot of time, and then 2, I think Facebook is better than Twitter for this particular thing, because I find that people are like more likely to be like, oh yeah, I'm just wasting time on Facebook. Whereas a lot of times people on Twitter are like, I'm trying to get something done, right? So if you're wasting time, it's like, oh yeah, I got time to check that out.
Gotcha. All right, so basically what you're saying here, Mark, is there's no secret sauce. There's no like 3rd degree inviting the 4th degree. None of that stuff is gonna work if your app isn't inherently exciting and interesting.
Right, and it's what's, and then the thing about virality, right, is like we think of it in terms of like, oh, if I could just make a YouTube video that will go viral, right, and then that somehow is gonna sell my app, right? Like I'll put a link in the description to my app, and like your conversion rate on the virality is gonna be like nothing, right? Or you think like, oh man, I need to get on this like bandwagon on Facebook, like this is how my mother sees me, this is how my dog sees me, this is how I see me. If I could just craft one of those, then like everybody will like my page, and then everybody will have my app, right? And it's like, no, that's no good, right? Gotcha. But this is like you're actually taking the content of your app, what your users are actually doing. So it's like actually making your app the central viral story, and each individual piece of content doesn't have to be viral in and of itself if, like, as a whole, it's like people are getting your app out there. And then when you click on it, it actually goes to your app instead of like going to a page, which then you like, and then who knows if that user's ever going to convert, right?
I see. All right, so give us some more examples, Mark. I know I'm putting you on the spot again, but what have you seen? Like, there's we've seen lots of apps for fitness, lots of apps for like motivation. To keep motivated, to like cheer each other on lots of other things, or magazines, content apps. What are some good examples that we could see beyond the games? Let's skip the games for a second here.
Sure, magazines is a great example. Like read an article is like the basic, right? But then also just like highlighted a paragraph, right? Like if you actually had a magazine app, like highlighted a paragraph, boom, like, and then you pop that paragraph out onto Facebook, right? You
That's
actually take the long form content of magazines and kind of get like people.
That is brilliant. I have to tell you, I'm always searching for lyrics online, and one of the sites had that lyrics where you select it and you can share just that. Yeah,
just select it and hit favorite, right? And it just goes boom.
Beautiful. Yeah. What other let's say other type of ideas?
So the fitness stuff right now, I mean, obviously the Nike Plus is doing this. If you've got any sort of fitness thing, improve your golf swing, like all these crazy
work
like,
on your guns
that are coming up, right?
I got a 6-pack. Maybe not.
Right? Push-up challenge.
Pump some iron. Yeah, like it was consistent on there. They actually say with the fitness apps that this type of social sharing increases the effectiveness, because you're kind of telling your friend base that I'm doing this, and it becomes part of your identity, and so you actually do it instead of kind of quietly doing it by yourself.
Right. No, learning and education, possibly even maybe learning a new
Learning
skill.
and education would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like learn a lesson, solve 20 math problems. I was actually thinking of like do you remember the time tests when you were a kid of just like, I was like, oh man, you could just do a time test app, right? Like where you just do a multiplication table and just sends it out to Facebook and says, like beat my time test time, right? Like, so, I mean, essentially you could add that kind of gamification element to anything.
Very cool, very cool. I have to
Very
tell you,
interesting ideas.
yeah, I have to tell you, man. I think games is definitely the area, but all these other areas, there's so much more opportunity there that hasn't been explored.
Oh yeah, so here's an example. I mean, we didn't do this, so but we saw it and we're like, oh, this is so much bigger than what we're currently thinking. Okay. But do you remember the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl ad campaign? And everybody was talking about how awesome it was that the users submitted
the commercials, right?
Videos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the really interesting bit to me was actually that it was user voted on videos, and it was a Facebook connected app where you voted on the things, right? So it was. How many people actually like made a video was like
very low, right? Very low content creators,
right? The number of people that voted was like huge.
Huge.
And I kept seeing on my feed, right? Like my buddy voted on the like guy with the makeup on his face, right?
Right.
And then what Facebook allows you to do is you can sponsor those stories, so they basically get a bigger reach if you put some money behind them.
Actually, before you go on, tell us a little bit, how does that work, the sponsor bit, with the virality?
Bit, what it does is it basically it allows you to make a social ad, right? Like my friend is engaged in this thing, and I mean, it basically takes the same post that you would normally have seen, but it broadcasts it out to more of people on your friends list, essentially. Because like Facebook has these algorithms, and they're saying, oh well, like Jeff never plays games, so he's never going to see any of these games posts. But if you sponsor it, you can actually, as an app developer, you can push it out to more people faster.
Gotcha.
So we've been doing some tests with that and seeing actually like you watch these little spikes, and we found that the conversion ratio on this is way better than traditional ads, because it's like my friend is doing something interesting. I'll click on it,
and it's also on the left side, right, where your eye is, right?
Yeah, it's like in the feed, right? Now, in the feed advertising, you can buy, in the feed advertising, but if it's not connected to your friend, it's just like, oh, a stranger thinks I need to do this. Like, I don't care, right? But like, oh, my friend is actually doing something.
Right.
So yeah, the Doritos thing, I saw that, like voted on thing way more than, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their numbers were, but I would imagine they got more impressions from that in people's news feed than they probably did with the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see what their sales numbers, Doritos chips, if it started to spike up in all the grocery stores. Yeah.
Well, and then they did it again. Lay's did the vote for a flavor, right? Like, do you want bacon flavored Lay's or whatever? And they did it. They, it's like obviously it worked for them because they are like, whoa, we're like, let's do this user engagement, marketing stuff. So we're really excited about the potential in just like traditional marketing, but making these apps that are like interesting. And users interact with the brand in an interesting way, and it becomes something that's worth sharing.
So with that, Mark, why don't you guys maybe even approach some of these larger ad agencies and starting to get them? Is that even on your radar?
We a little bit. I mean, it's so we actually applied for PI, which is the Portland Incubator Experience Incubator. Anyway, it's
cool. Okay.
It's run by Wyden Kennedy up in Portland.
Oh wow!
And so
there you go.
Right,
that's the big massive.
They do Nike. They have they do the ads for Facebook, like the whole Facebook home campaign stuff.
Right.
So if we get into that, then I think we're solid gold on that.
You're gonna be you're gonna be so set. Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Y&R, they're massive, man. Holy cow. Yeah. So yeah, I would see ad agencies is definitely the next step. Especially for these other alternative markets beyond games. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, games is just a little piece,
Yeah, you can see how valuable all of these touch points are. Like anytime someone does an action that you can build upon and get them
Yeah,
to, it's a credibility. They're building reputation, using their reputation to add credibility to the fact
exactly.
that they're using your app. People aren't taking advantage of this enough today. I think you're opening up the opportunities for people to start seeing where they can add these touch points
Yeah,
with their
absolutely.
customers.
Speaking of touch points here, Mark, I want to get your feedback. Now, of course, Nike innovated and created, like the shoe or the band or whatever. Could you see a
Hmm.
day where maybe my little coffee, maybe the coffee pot itself is connected somehow wirelessly to the Bluetooth, and Mool just brewed his fourth cup of coffee today. Send him
I
a
could
slow
see
down
that.
message.
So actually, here in Eugene, there's a coffee place that there's a loyalty card, right? And you get
Oh
free
yeah.
coffees.
Oh yeah.
And one of the guys I know, he's just racking up free coffees just because he wants to be on the like free coffee leaderboard. So
Oh,
there's some guy that has like 100 some free coffees like saved up, and so my friend is
that's
like
awesome.
trying to like catch up with this other guy with free coffees. He's drinking
That's
way too
so
many.
great.
But yeah, right. Like if that
The things a
application was
leaderboard will do.
connected, you could have that like all being, shared. You can be gamifying life,
Yeah,
And
yeah, man. I could totally see that. Physical things. I don't. I'd
yeah,
love. I think that's going to be a really big next frontier for all of us.
Yeah, I just got an email from If Then That. I think they're leaning really hard on these physical devices. So they're
oh
like,
yeah,
just adding all of the connectivity to switches and power plugs and things like that.
hmm
I think it's definitely going where you're talking, where we can start figuring out every time, Jeff just got home, flipped on the
yeah,
switch or
right,
whatever. Different interesting things that we can't imagine today.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So, have you seen anything else like in comic books, digital comic books? Have you seen anybody use it there? I'm just curious.
In comics,
Yeah,
I know, but it would be awesome, right? Like that would be, like read a book, favorite a page, highlight it, like you could favorite, I would imagine just in my like this page is so awesome, like give kudos to the artist for
yeah,
just like drawing,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
like a kudos button in a comic and just go
yeah.
like, oh, this moment right here was so dramatic. Like SoundCloud,
Oh yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
have sharing, but you can like comment on like
Yeah.
different points in the song and
Right,
say like, oh, this part is really cool.
right.
Taking that type of interaction
Yeah,
to comic books would be
yeah.
actually really
Yeah,
awesome.
it'd be really great, man. I'm totally my mind's already going, man. I'm like, this could.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. There's so many areas here. All right, well, I have to tell you, Mark, there's definitely huge potential here, man. I could see you guys blowing up huge, man.
Yeah, it's just I agree, right? Like it's like every time I come from a product design background, right? So I'm like every time I talk to a new customer, I think I oversell it because I'm just like thinking through their thing and I'm like, here's some more features that you could throw in, throw
Right,
this,
right.
and they're just like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right? Like I got to go back to my like.
Gotcha. Well, all right. So, having said that, what's on your roadmap? What kind of things are you going to be coming out with?
Oh, let's see our roadmap. We've got. We really want to have sponsored stories in our interface, so you can just hit the sponsor button. That's like a huge thing that we're trying to push for.
Okay.
We have to work with Facebook to get that done.
Hmm.
Another thing we talked about was actually things like being able to pull in a list of. We're kind of we know what people are doing, so if like you have people are buying upgrades right in your app. Like pull down a list of the people who are like regular upgrade buyers, and then when you roll out new content, you could actually use that list to then kind of send them a message that says, hey, there's a new thing. So get the one-to-one stuff going on, like the Facebook notifications API, get that in there.
Gotcha.
So like the Facebook notifications API, they will actually cut you off if you go below 18% click-through rate.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Okay.
So right, we've been talking to some people who are like, hey, if you can wrap that so that you guys cut me off at 20%, right?
Nice.
So that like I have
Yeah.
a chance to change it and
Wow.
not get like hosed.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So so we're gonna get that going.
Cool.
The one-to-one viral and gifting kind of stuff, that's on our roadmap. I mean, I've heard it many times, right? That startups don't starve; they drown. You know, like you're just like, oh man, there's so many good ideas.
So many good ideas. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, and so just to recap, any app developer can use this, right? I mean, it's not just mobile. It's not just iOS or Android. It's any app. I mean,
it's any app. It's basically on any platform where you can sign in with Facebook, right?
Okay.
Like signing in with Facebook is the key piece to get it out onto Facebook. But yeah, it's any app, any domain, you know.
Okay, so what's your percentage of the distribution there? Would you say?
Oh, that's a great question.
Are there a lot? Is it mainly mobile, or a lot of these apps web?
So right now, it's mostly web. Our two biggest customers right now are actually traditional Facebook games, right? Because it was like really easy to sell them on it because basically they knew that Zynga was already doing this, and they were little guys, and they're like, how can we compete with Zynga? It's like, oh, hey, actually we built the tools better than, you know, so you can just incorporate it. So it's a little bit of a democratizing thing. Right?
Okay, yeah, that's an easy
and then
one.
We've got some mobile people kind of on the onboarding process. They haven't actually shipped their product with it in it yet. So that's kind of where it's at.
That's great. Well, I'm a huge fan of the web.
Yeah, I'm a big web fan personally over native apps, you know, because I feel like the web reaches out to the web or to the mobiles, but not the other way around. But
right.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like JavaScript and SDK, and obviously you could sign in with Facebook, so it's definitely there.
Cool. I'm gonna have to take a look at adding this to some of my super secret web apps that I got going on.
Yeah. I have to say, the one area that I would have liked to have seen more on is maybe some more case studies in the blog and all that stuff.
Sure.
I hope you guys definitely push that. I know
Yeah.
you guys are a small team. I know every day there's like all these things you could be doing. It's like, what is going to be the best return on our time right now?
Yeah,
you mentioned that you guys are going to add documentation and self-service eventually.
Yeah, so that's really on like near-term roadmap for me personally. Is I got to get it's like the homepage needs to sell the value a little bit better than it's doing, and then the sign-up process. You know, we had it open for a while to just anybody to sign up, and I could see like basically in our conversion funnel where people were dropping off, and I was like, okay, we need to fix that. So like near term, it's like roadmap is like fixing the sign up process so that it basically teaches you what you're supposed to do as you're doing it.
Gotcha. Have you, since we are on the Hangout and since Google is pushing Hangouts and unifying all this stuff, I mean, I have to tell you, all the startups I talk to, I tell them the same thing. This has turned out to be one of the best business development tools that I've found. You know, you don't have to leave your house, you don't have to leave your workspace. Right. You can meet all these people around the country, around the world. You know, I hope you guys end up using Hangouts as a way to leverage, maybe even using this as a way of interviewing possible game developers and then recording it and then transcribing it and adding it to your blog.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Doing that's a really good idea.
You know, using
like
that as a case study
blogcast, like case study thing, right? Like, hey, how did you use like what has Carrot done, you know, in your game? Or rather, more like how are you approaching virality in your game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I honestly think that this area of like the creative part. I mean, obviously you guys are handling the technical part and you're abstracting that, but the creative part, the stuff that you're talking about, the blue ocean, the blue sky stuff.
Yep.
I love that stuff, man.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. Yeah, especially a lot of developers may get stuck in that area as well because they're more technically focused. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the.
Well, I'd say there's two sides of it actually. I mean, sometimes you need to be the developer to even know what's possible.
Yeah,
like, I mean, because early on I was like, well, you know, I've looked at the APIs. I know what you can do, which is nice, but it's a pain.
Exactly.
But then on the other hand, with the creative endeavor, same problem though. Like the world's your oyster, you can do anything, you know. So it's like wide open. You really just have to be really creative with it, and figure out a way to engage with your users how they're already engaging with you.
Yeah, I mean, so this is what's exciting about the web right now, right? Is you've got all of these little like niche services that kind of take care of all the technical pieces for you, like ours, but like also like Optimizely and just like all these different like customer IO. They'll do like email stuff for you and drip campaigns and basically all the technical thing you can just sort of like piece together, and it gives you time to concentrate on the design and how it works, and not have to like learn all of that other stuff, right? And you just kind of like piece together. And so the web keeps building. You don't have to build all these pieces; you already have them, and so then you can concentrate on the key bit that makes your app the most interesting thing that everybody should use.
You just brought up a very good point here, Mark. What tools, online tools, have you guys used that you've been like totally like, oh my god, everybody should be using this for your startup?
So, the biggest, the one that I think is the coolest is MouseFlow.
MouseFlow.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that one, Jeff. Have you?
No, I don't think.
Have you heard of Crazy Egg? They do like heat maps.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, MouseFlow takes heat maps to like a whole new level.
Hey, bring that up, Jeff. Yeah, I want to see this. MouseFlow. Okay.
It's crazy because it will actually just record the mouse movement of the user on the web page. I probably shouldn't even be telling people that we're using this because they'll be creeped out. Like, oh, because it is a little bit creepy, but it's like a lo-fi usability test. It's really amazing because in the past I did a usability test, right? And you had to like interview candidates, and you had to like bring them to a thing. You have the room with the one-way class, right?
All that.
This you actually can watch like what they click on and see. This is how I know that like, our conversion funnel just like everybody drops off on the setup an app page, just like they're done, right? They leave because they watch, and you can see them get confused just by their mouse movements.
Wow, that is crazy, man. I'm definitely gonna check this one out. I have to tell you, Mark, we had a really great interview with this guy named Pep, and all he does is conversions, and he runs all these experiments. He's always talking about conversions, and so this is huge. This stuff is huge, especially as a small startup. You really gotta leverage whatever little traffic, whatever you're getting. You want to try to double it, triple it, quadruple that.
Yeah, we were playing with the $5 a day lean startup. Like banner ads. Just or like Google ads, and just saying like, okay, we'll put $5 and just see what kind of traffic we can get in using whatever keywords we can. So.
Right. Yeah, I have to tell you, just briefly from our own talks, content marketing seems to be really working well for a lot of the smaller startups.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really like I am looking forward to being able to do more case study type stuff, right? Like, okay, here's what here's what's working, here's what's not working,
Right.
Here's what's working really well, So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Amul's always trying to pitch that to everyone as more case studies. And we try to ask on the show for as many examples as we can.
Yeah.
If you do have a killer case study down the road that you would love to showcase, we'd love to have you back on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. These are the things that our audience and we just live for. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I have to tell you, Mark, all the cutting edge stuff that you guys are doing, the bleeding edge stuff, and these cool ideas. Case studies are, in my opinion, are a great way to convey without being too salesy,
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know if you're familiar with Customer I/O, but I have a lot of respect for what they're doing because it's an email drip campaign platform, and
check it out. Yeah.
His whole blog is how to write better emails, right? And it's not even like you need to use our service, yada yada yada. It's just like, here's what I've learned about writing better emails. And like, as somebody who's now trying to do sales for the first time in my life, I know that like people don't open emails, and it's just like the neglect that happens in the email box. So like having any tips to just like it's like, okay, how do I make a subject line better? And so he just gives that away. He's like,
that's awesome.
Even one week he ran an A/B test with his newsletter, and in the newsletter he actually said, well, here's the headline, here's the 2 headlines that I'm running the test, and the next week we'll tell you what the open rate was on the 2 different headlines.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Very smart. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, Mark, it's been really, really great having you on the show. You know, and what I really like a lot, actually, beyond just the fact that you guys are doing this whole Facebook virality, is the fact that you guys are out there, you know, hustling and not in the valley. You know, you guys are like the three guys, you know, in Oregon
Right.
and
Yeah,
Eugene.
don't
And
tell Ryan, but we love everyone that's outside the bubble.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. I'm always fighting for the little guy out in the middle of
Exactly.
nowhere, man.
Yeah, out
I'm
in
not
the
to
middle
say
of
that you're in the
nowhere.
middle of nowhere, but
Right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, in between two somewheres is kind of sometimes what it feels like.
Yeah, in between
Portland
two
is
somewheres.
actually getting really hot, but you know, it's like, okay, well, we need to drive up to Portland, you know, every once in a while.
Right, right.
So-
No, and Jeff and I firmly believe, hey, you know, we've got the internet. It's supposed to free us from the location
Right.
and all that stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah, so hopefully
Turns
we'll
out
see.
FaceTime really does make a difference.
it does. It does. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
I can
and
tell
we'll
you from
still
my
get
own
together
experience,
for
it's really great.
the conferences, right? You know, maybe we'll see you up in San Francisco for the next gaming conference or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so we're definitely going to reach out to you, hopefully in 5 or 6 months, and check in on you and see how you guys are
Cool.
doing.
Yeah.
You know, and please, you know, we'll be putting this video up soon, so please share it with your friends and family. Let it and refer us to any other founders, especially in Eugene, that you like
Yeah.
and are doing well.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, we're trying to hit the SoCal area around here, and we've got a few international friends now. But yeah, it'd be great if you could plant a little seed for us up there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And then maybe me and Jeff will pack up and head to Eugene and check it out for ourselves.
Yeah. Come check out the Silicon Shire.
Silicon Shire, that's right.
Yeah. So for all of our audiences listening, how can they thank you? How do you want them to? Should they go follow you on Twitter? Or just check out your website. Obviously, all of our app developers listening will hit you up and find out how they can use this to integrate into Facebook. But how
Yeah.
can we, return the favor.
I think it's go to our website and send us an email to like say, hey, I want to check it out, and we'll let's start a conversation about what Carrot can do with you, for you, and then of course like follow us on Twitter and all that. So
Great, we'll do. Yeah, we'll follow your blog too.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
rocking.
Well, thanks again. If people want to get a hold of you or the team, what's a good email?
Mark@GoCarrot.com.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks again, Mark, for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
Bye.
Bye.